Okay. You can see here I'm still mired in computer stuff right now, and you can see I've got some circular designs here that I'm working on. This is working in Inkscape. Um, let's see. Oh, wrong way. And of course, yeah, there we go. I'm working on I'm working on some designs. You can see here some of the things that I have worked on here, and you've seen these pieces here and some other little ornamental things. I finished up the bureau, and I also, yeah, this one, because this is one of those beds I didn't think I was going to do anything with. I thought that it was how should I say it? I had to go in and do a major redraw because even the scans, because I think I got rid of the original artwork. Let's see, do I have it here anywhere? Yeah, the original image is just not good. Where is the original image? Because I know I had it. I just turned it on. Okay, where is the original image? Huh. I must have gotten rid of it. It's there. Anywho, let's look at what I did. So let's pull this up. And you can see here, I've used some of those same elements from the bureau. Some of those same elements from the bureau for this piece. And I finally, within the last 24 hours, I had kind of an aha moment of what I was doing and how I was doing it and why I was doing it. Does that make sense? I had a lot of fun putting these together. I've finally gotten my ratios right on some of these elements here, because this isn't one of those things where you can like copy something and shrink it and stick it inside. It's not going to look right. So I had a lot of fun putting these together in that. And when I say fun, I mean doing a layering of what's going to go on. Now, the thing that's still kind of throwing me is some of the scaling stuff, and I'm still trying to figure that out. Meaning that I need these elements to not be all like pixelated. So because when I pull them up here, it's like everything looks great. Ooh, except for that, I need to fix that. Let's see if I can. Let's go in here. And some of the pixelation. Do I have that locked? Oh yeah. Okay. I need to unlock a bunch of stuff. Oh, criminy. That should, oh man. Don't I have an unlock all in here? Unlock all there, because that's just gonna, okay. Hello. Unlock all. There we go. I'm just coming in here and making some adjustments. Making sure that these pieces are where they're supposed to go. And it's incidentally, it's this kind of stuff that I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to show you what I was doing with them. Oh, there it is. The original drawing is there. Can you see? Here it is. Can you see how crooked some of this stuff is? The fuzzy stuff is the original image, and it's just, I must have had the original image locked. That's the reason you couldn't see it. You can't, so you can see where some of this stuff is just, and that's just natural stuff. It's just making a copy over and over again. It's not a big deal. I'm now thinking I want to add another element there. Anywho, yeah, the portions of my brain that are very much or ADHD really get like squirrel with this sort of thing. So you can see I made some changes to it, but part of, let's get back to the original point, Katie, figuring out how this will scale, and then realizing that for major pieces of the beds, I'm going to be using wood, the wood grain sorts of things that I've been using, and some other textures and things that I have been taking photographs of and like socking away things that I want to use. But then these little elements in here, again, I'm pulling them from my own memory, but then going back and looking at what has influenced them. Let me get this saved. And discovering that there's a lot of different influences in here. I mean, there's definitely an Asian influence, an Art Nouveau influence, a very 70s influence that's pulling from Art Nouveau and pulling from Asian art. And then also, some of these things that are far more, I would say, Nordic in look and in feel. But then I kept trying to like figure out like what is the black and white going on. Part of that and why it is hitting some buttons and I don't know quite what they are. Well, I decided to sit down and start working on some flowers because I want some flower elements to go into some of these pieces. In the bed that I just showed you, this is like one of the panels. I want to do some more designs, not using all of like this, but I'm just saying these panels where there's like a quarter or a half of the flower. But instead of having to like build the flower from scratch, I want to have illustrative elements that I can just drop in, little black and white pieces. And I'm like, but why do I want them black and white? The part of that it started hitting on is they were from the 70s, and they were like those velvet posters that you like colored in, and my sister Chris would get them, and I was always like so like wanted to work on them, but I was far too young. I think it's also the same reason that I loved the stained glass at my grandmother's church, because there was like a color in kind of element. So my plan for these pieces, as I create like small drop-in illustrative spot illustrations, that's what I call them as a designer, is that all of these in final version would be colored, or the color will be added with pens, with paint, etc. And I'm very kind of excited to use some because I was like, I've been wanting to use my watercolor set, and I'm like, oh, these will look so cool in watercolor as little spot illustrations. So that's what I plan on using these for. And what's interesting is, one of the things about computer illustration that I've not liked is the fact that you don't live with your mistakes. You can just delete them and get rid of them. But I decided to go ahead and keep some of these things around because I wanted to look at progress. So this is the first one that I put together, and I enlarged it, and you can see that the line widths are all wrong. I need to go in and do some correcting with that. And this to me is more of an emblematic like sakura blossom kind of thing. And then I went in and started working with something that's a little bit more petal-like. And while I liked this petal, the thing that was getting me though is I was starting with the petal first, and then this was just an afterthought. So I go from here, I go to here, and then I realize, and then there's this, and then I'm shrinking and pulling things in. And then I'm realizing that my influence, the big influence for this, in my mind as I'm creating and going, this is not it, this is not it, this is not it, is I kept coming back to this petal shape. And again, these are just imagined flowers. And then this is what made me go, okay, I remember this from somewhere. And I think I showed you guys the John Alcorn piece, this Breck, like from the early 70s. And you can see where some of these flowers, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's where I want to go. This kind of leaf thing is something that I do in my own embroidery work as well. This isn't a fabulous copy. I'm really thankful that whomever put this on their Pinterest page, did, because it gives me an idea of like, it's pinpointing the reference, the influence. I mean, you can see that petal shape, because these are just imagined flowers. So this gives me something, a basis to work from. And then I was looking at other John Alcorn work that I posted to you, and then went in and started making some other flowers, and thinking about those posters, the black velvety posters where you colored in the white areas. And while this is kind of interesting, this is a little Art Nouveau / hippie / let's get stoned in my brother's friend's basement kind of thing, which was not what I wanted. And again, I'm paying more attention. In this one, I was paying way more attention to the petal portions than this is an afterthought. The center part was like an afterthought. And the same with this one, although I kind of like how this one turned out. I like the randomness of the petals, and I want to use this again, but I just don't know where. I'll figure it out. So I decided after sitting down and thinking about it and doing a couple of pencil sketches, I decided I wanted to go ahead, and it's like, okay, the petals are throwing me. Let's just work on the center parts. So one of the things that I dislike a lot about computer art is the lazy approach to, I'm going to make a circle and they're all perfect. And I don't like that. So I basically sat down and with my pen tool started, and it's actually just good practice for making circles, or I should say organic circular-esque shapes. So I started making those, because you can see I've got a whole bunch here. And of this, there's probably about 8 that were original, and then I just copy pasted and changed them around. Are you kidding me? What are you doing, you little dink? So what I started doing was coming in and making these, and then coming back and adjusting. This is doing 2 things. Number one, it's getting me a more organic type of circle, but it's also good practice for me. Wow, you are just getting flaky. Come back here. I've been working a little bit this morning, and sometimes I need to like shut programs down because it's like I've asked them to do too much, and they get a little like, I'm sure you've copy pasted too much, and it's like, so I can get something that's circular, but no, that's not what I wanted. My mouse is not fabulous. I need to start looking at another mouse. Okay, so there's that. So let's go ahead and no fill. And you can see the difference between these two now. If I put these inside of each other, you can see the difference. And my brain sees the difference too. It's not that I'm not using, like for some of the teeny little elements where I want to shrink something down really tiny, I'll use the circle tool. But I'm making my own circles, which I think look a lot better. My brain gets tricked a little bit more, and I like this better. So when I was working, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make some centers. So I sat down and I came up with, I think it was this one, this center, and you can see there's this center and then this center, and started working on some more petals. I kind of like that one. I think I need to mess with it a little bit more. Let's blow them up. And you can see that's like inside. And I'm starting with the center and radiating outward. I'm also making these a little larger than I need to make them. So when I do pull them in as spot illustrations and shrink them down, they'll look really nice. There's some things here that I need to change, like, would you just stop doing that? This element is a little bit too small. I need to make it a little larger. This one right here, I need to make a tiny bit larger. So some things I need to go in and change. I think the most successful one, the one that finally was like, okay, I've got it. It's this one right here. Now, another thing that I don't like about computer illustration is the hardness of line. So if we come up here, you can see my lines are much more organic. Now, I could achieve that in a other programs, but I'm not working in a program where I'm having to pay monthly fees on it, and Adobe can go do sit and spin. I don't want to work with them. You can see here that these lines are very accurate, and I don't like that. You can tell the difference between these, and it's something that just rubs me the wrong way as an illustrator. I went in with these little lines here and have been tweaking them, each little group of them. Yeah, I made like 15 lines and then copy pasted, and then went in and tweaked them. I'll continue to do that. I really like this center bit, and I want to use this a little bit more, plus another element that I found in one of those Epinal prints where I was doing some drawing. And then coming over here, you can see that I have, there are different things that I can do with each one of these. I think this petal is just too ornamental. I need to change something about it. And I realized with this one, it's too white. I have this one thing here. It's not balanced right. So then I came back in, changed some things around. I like the center a lot more. You can also see where I've used more of the circles, but then I've added in these little bits in here. And this is the stuff that starts to take up a lot of time. I have some other centers over here. I usually keep like little bits of things. Here are some of the original, they look like little stones, I think. I was just working on this one here. And you can tell here, with this line right here that I'm indicating, this one right here does not look like the others. If I were doing a super quick thing for like, and I've done this in the past, spot illustrations. One of the ways that I made like, what was it? I had like almost $2.5 grand in a savings account. When I was working very, very long time ago, I was working as a graphic designer, and I would take really tiny little jobs, you know, that paid me like $20, $30, $40, nothing over like 100. So anything that I got from freelance illustration work, you know, the kind of stuff where I'd be called into the office, and it's like, bring this stuff with you and we'll feed you, and could you draw these for us? Because people didn't know how to draw. And I'd get a free lunch out of it and $50 in cash or $100 in cash, you know, that kind of stuff. What do you want on your pizza kind of thing? So this is very much in my style. This right here, this more organic line. And the way that I'm achieving it here is I've dropped in this line right here, and then I'm coming in and making the little bits that need to go in between that make it look like more of an organic line. And this is some of the stuff that will take a long time because I'm being really fidgety about it. If I had something like Procreate or whatever that one is that you can work on like an iPad with, I could achieve this effect a lot easier. And you can see here there's still a little bit of a bump. Sometimes I'll come in and I will reduce the size of it if it's really getting super fidgety. I think with this one I'd rather use 200. And one of the main benefits of something like Procreate is instead of having to mess with the keyboard and this stuff, it would just be touching back and forth with a stylus. So instead of a mouse, I'd be working with a stylus. But I'm poor, so we're gonna go with this. Okay, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna need. I've done a lot of stuff in this program this morning, so it's basically just, and I usually do it at the same size as the line. Like this line is a 2.65, this is a 2.65. So I'll come in, set this as what it is. And I round the ends because I've just found that rounding the ends makes it a little easier to hide. I think it's just a personal preference. So I go in, I make sure like there's a lump right there. I get it as straight as I can. And then I go to the bottom part and I do this again. And Oh, wait, don't start there. I need to start here. Making it an angle, making it a point, making it a curve, not an angle. Zoop, zoop. And grab my repositioning tool, and then I can come in and change things around. This is part of the curves. I can come in and move this around, and what I'm trying to do, you can see right here, this is a little too straight. So I need to just move it until I think that's where it was, where it's not as visible anymore. And sometimes it's pulling back, sometimes it's going forward. So a lot of this fidgety stuff is what takes me so long. And again, a different computer program would just simply have a different set of tools. And instead of going back and forth with my, make it bigger, make it smaller, I'd be using my hand to pull things in and push things out. So this is much more in my style, something that's much more organic. And in concentrating on these middle sections first, and then doing a pick and choose, because I really would like to use, it's this one right here. I need to figure out, it kind of looks like a little light bulb right now, doesn't it? Oh, that would be cool, using a little light bulb filament kind of things that I had used. Where'd it go? Yeah, in this one right here. This one is so Art Nouveau. So a lot of this is good practice. A lot of this is, I'm having some fun with it, and I've been itching to put color in them, and that's when I started sitting down and examining like what kind of color, because there's a part of me that's like, oh man, these are just going to be, for lack of a nicer term, they are just going to be a bitch to add color to if I want to do any kind of specific textures, etc. But if I'm going to be using watercolor and things afterwards, my brain automatically just kind of went, watercolor and the paint pens and other things. I'm like, colored pencil. And it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing now. So I'm having a lot of fun with this. And that's the part as an artist when it's like, oh, I'm having fun. This should be for free. No, it's not, because I have been chained to my desk doing this. And if the lights went out and I had to, there was no other way to do these, I'd sit down and draw them. I'd be drawing them the exact same way. I should be using pen. So my end goal in this, because it's these right here and this one, and then whatever I create out of these are the flowers that I'm going to use for some upcoming pieces. And there's, I don't know, it's going to be interesting, some of the textures and things that I've chosen, because unlike the living room pieces, these bedroom pieces are getting way more like personal. Does that make sense? Because I've been talking a lot about, like, those posters and my own illustration style and what's influenced me and what hasn't influenced me. It's not to say that the living room pieces weren't influenced by who I am, but I think it's interesting that the living room is pulling references from that aren't necessarily of my choosing, i.e., it's like in my family childhood home, the living room was decided upon my parents. They decided the style. They picked the furniture. So of course I put, antiques in there. And then my bedroom is like my stuff, or the bedroom, which I think is really super interesting. Anywho, that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm doing. I think these would make like cute stickers and stuff. That would be a really nice giveaway for some patrons. I mean, if you like flowers or you like, 70s illustration, I still need to come in and do some adding in, make these a little bit more organic on these edges. And yes, I do know that this looks like cellular and or atomic stuff. Totally. Oh, and another thing, And this is on purpose. This is on purpose. I would say on purpose. If you come in and take a look here. Okay. We know that spirals are used in mythology, etc. I am looking at these when I was putting these together as spirals and pearls. I kept calling them spirals and pearls. And then spirals, pearls, rainbows. Spirals, pearls, rainbows, eyeballs. Yeah, those are supposed to look like eyeballs. I know exactly what they're supposed to. So, I'm also adding in some surreal elements to my pieces as well. So, yeah, it's been interesting kind of pulling on all these little threads and seeing where they're going. Why is it that I gravitate towards this sort of thing or that sort of thing? And I really would like to have you guys tell me, let me know, would you like stickers? Because I can have stickers made. That fabulous press that I use that's right up the street, Union Printers, Wilmington, Delaware. It's on 8th Street. It's about, I always think of it as 2 blocks, but it's more like 8 blocks. I just think of it as close. These would look really super cool as stickers, I think. Color with the colors already in them. So anyway, let me know because I can make stickers there and for actually fairly cheap. So I'm almost at a half an hour. I need to stop here. Thank you guys, all of my patrons. I am continuing to sock away my money for printing things. And I received some good news today about insurance because I talked before about it, so I'm in a fairly good mood. My husband and I have both been having little mini panic attacks over different ends of things, but everything looks pretty good. And thank you guys for sticking around and sticking with me and listening to me rant and rave and talk about my influences, etc. And I will see you in the next video.